I would like to take this opportunity to introduce a consistent partner of the Philippine Commission Women during the International Women's Day celebration and all the other work that we need to do to mainstream women's issues and causes across all different sectors of society. It is my honor to introduce to you the United Nations Resident Coordinator and Humanitarian Coordinator of the Philippines, RC Gustavo Gonzalez. RC Gustavo, over to you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, very much.
Excellent, excellent. No, first of all, congratulations, Nevi, Len, and thank you so much, Chair Sandra Sanchez Montano, for a very inspiring message, and of course, Secretary Eduardo Año, thank you so much for your leadership. Last week, just a few days ago, the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change circulated its latest report with a green warning. And let me just read what it said. We are almost out of time to ensure a livable future for all. And the report stated that the staggering 143 million people will likely be uprooted over the next 30 years by rising seas, droughts, searing temperatures, and other climate catastrophes. So this statement has a particular relevance in a country that is severely affected by climate change like the Philippines. While this dark future awaits all of us if we don't take urgent action, we know that women and girls will certainly suffer the most. So the question is why? So let me tell you. We know that in any situation of displacement, women and girls are disproportionately affected because they are made more vulnerable by their gender and age. And we have seen this very recently in communities destroyed by Typhoon Odette, which left almost 500,000 girls in need of urgent assistance. Without homes, electricity, and privacy, women and girls are unsafe and are extremely vulnerable to sexual attacks and violence. During the disaster, pregnant women cannot access maternal health care and safe childbirth simply because hospitals are damaged. And we know that in the future, we will see more climate refugees and migrants in a context where displacement is far from being a choice. We also know that women-led households are more likely to be affected by climate-related food insecurity because they are more dependent on rain-fed agriculture to feed their families. Women-led households face greater difficulties rebuilding their homes. Women farmers are less able than men to adapt to climate change because they have less access to adaptive resources, to assets, to financing, to information. We know that their decision-making power is very narrow in such circumstances. And in the cities which suffered the brunt of climate impacts like floods, landslides, and extreme heat, women and girls living there are most vulnerable to climate-induced disasters because they have unequal access to services and economic opportunities to recover. That's why the theme of this year's International Women's Day is extremely relevant for the world, for women, but particularly to the Philippines. Gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. In the same way that we cannot move successfully into the new normal unless our COVID-19 recovery is a feminist recovery, as the UN Secretary General says, so we have no hope of surviving the severe impact of climate change unless women's needs and circumstances are at the center of any inclusive and sustainable recovery. For this, we need more women in leadership, in the government, in parliaments, in civil society, businesses, decided on development priorities, on green and inclusive policies, on social protection, on sustainable consumption and production, and on many other development areas. Women make up about 1/3 of the total global micro, small, and medium enterprises sector. Women represent 70 to 80% in agriculture and 1/3 in the manufacturing sector. But this participation is not fully translated into decision-making power. The experience is showing that having more women in parliaments has a direct impact on stronger climate commitments and higher levels of investment in healthcare and education. Women are also in a unique position to reshape industrial development that is aligned with the environmental protection goals. What we know is that when the world invests in expanding opportunities for women and girls, all of humanity wins. As the UN Secretary General says, as a matter of justice, equality, morality, and common sense, we need to turn the clock forward on women's rights. The COVID-19 crisis has been a calamity for the world, and for women and girls in particular. But it has also forced to recognize the existence of unacceptable global inequalities and entrenched gender discrimination. So women must be at the center of the recovery as we make the course correction that the pandemic has highlighted so dramatically. And this is a job for all of us. So dear partners, colleagues and friends, I look forward to working with all of you to advance women's leadership, to achieve women's rights, and to build a future based on equality and dignity for all. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat.